I woke up this morning and I thought it could have been a great idea to cut my hair, and this is what I did. Now I'm gonna get a divorce from my wife, but yeah, it's still me. Anyway, I wanna talk about something really important to me. My production really relies on the use of effects, and mostly effects pedal. So I have been a guitar player for many years. I have a good collection. I love them. I love how the thoughts of some creator goes into a small box and allow me to experiment to get unique tones. And my production heavily revolves around the use of simple source, then process through the use of pedals, effects, or whatever. Since I got my mixer down here, I had to learn how to implement the effects that I have. It's not that simple. I mean, yes, it could be simple, but if you want to do it properly and if you want to connect everything in a good way without incurring a lot of noise, humming problems along the way, you need to know how to do it. So today I want to show you, using some sound sample, how I configured my entire studio. Then I have two kind of effects. One is the one in my rack system here, and I have the overstayer that I use as an insert effect. Mostly means that I will go in series with any channel. Then I have the Eventide H3000, which I use on a send and return. Then the Lexicon Prime Time. Above now I have the Chorus Echo AFX3 from Echofix, which has its own channel. Then the Space Echo, and then I have all my pedal. I just got these two guys, the Reamp, the Radial Reamp, Ecstasy stereo and mono, which are really good and really important. They're also very expensive, so yeah, I'll show you how those are really cool to implement, and basically is the missing link that I had to implement pedals and the big console. Yeah, I think that's about it. I'm not using very weird kind of effects. Mostly it's always reverb and delay, and then I have some modulation, but I try to create a weird sound with the modular or the synths in recording, and then what I had after usually is just lines of delay or reverb. That's what I do. Or since now I have the Chorus Echo, I use that a lot for pads and in sounds that need chorus, because it sounds just great. Demo coming soon of that one. So without further ado, and before going into the topic, some way you can support me, especially now, because after I did this, I'll be alone, and I will need all of the support possible. My wife right now is for a month back in USA, and when she will find out. Anyway, you can first support this page by subscribing to this page, sharing this content, and please hit that like button, super easy. Then you can buy from the affiliate link down below, and you can become a Patreon. On Patreon I do more in-depth video, one lesson, whatever you want, and by now there's hundreds of video exclusive that are only on Patreon, so yeah, go check it out. All right, let's move on the desk and I'll show you what's happening there. All right, here we are on the mixer. So as you can see, I like to have all of my effects on hand because I like to interact with them, and there's quite a lot right now. I have one chain here. It's the LVX into the CXM 1978, both from Maris, and this one collaboration between Maris and Chase Bliss. Delay, modular delay, and reverb, they work really good together. Then I have another chain, and this is on send 3. Then I have the Eventide space on send 4. the Benny dub is my dub delay by choice. It's super simple to use, super convenient, and I love it. It's one of the effects that I use since the ages, so one of my favorite. It has its own channel on channel 7. Then the chorus echo here that goes in channel 8. And Space Echo and the Echo Dream now share one chain, and it goes through the reamp. We'll listen to that. And I think that's it. And then I have the Eventide in the rack down below. So the interesting part to me is always start with a simple kind of sound and then make it more interesting. So let's hear what I have. I create something really fast using the analog rhythm here and the 303, the Avalon. So this is the things that we have right now. So as you can hear, very simple sequence. I divide it like this. I have the kick on channel 2, the 303 on channel 3, and then the rest of the Syntakt, which is a kit that I made using only impulse machine, which is something I love, on channel 1. So how a console works and how you can use this concept in your production? Well, I have the luxury of having 6 aux send, and that's why I choose this console. I love the idea of having a lot of effects send. So I can have 6 different chain if I want, or 6 different effects, which is more than enough. So for what I learned lately, talking with other producers here at Riverside, it's always a good idea not to, if you want to record separate track, of course, not to use all the effect on all the track, because after it will be impossible to mix and have versatility. So I try to use at least a few of the aux send just for one track. So just to let you hear what I got right now, with the Zahl I have the chance to send the signal, and here in this section here I can activate the aux master, means that the signal actually will go through my pedal. Then I have a return section here, but for how I set up the system, this is just for listening back, because the effects go straight in my sound card, the Orion 32 Plus from Antelope, and then from the sound card come back here just for listening purpose. I have some EQ going on, but nothing crazy, so this is mostly the clean sound. I didn't use any effects on the analog rhythm, just because I don't think I need it. So let's hear now. So as you can hear, what I like, it's mostly creating space and texture. So we go from something that was very dry, but already nice sounding to me, so it's my kind of signature sound. And then I start adding effects one by one and try to create some space around it. Because mostly what we are hearing now is just reverb and delays. So on channel 7, for example, right now I'm riding the fader to play the dub delay. It's the Benny dub. How does it work? Simply, I'm just sending the 303. And like this I have a feedback at 0, so there's only one tap delay, but then I feed it back to it. And here is where you can create the dub delay. Which is great for creating transition, and you know, it's just great. The trick here is finding out the sweet spot in which the aux return into itself, so basically creating the feedback, will be nice and enough to create a self feedback. Of course, it's set post fader, otherwise this won't happen. And also all of my send here are post fader, means that the signal will be sent to the effects only if I write a fader, if I send some signal. Could be also pre-fader. It means a pre-fader, for example, it means that now the signal will go no matter what, even if my fader is down. Fader is down. So let's go to the other effects and what I like to do. For example, on the kick, I always like to have a touch of spring reverb, because it gives this interesting eye hand, and it's maybe the space echo down here. You don't see it too, but it's just on reverb. I love how it sounds, and I'm driving it pretty hard, and how the space echo is unbalanced. So here it's where the radial reamp start into play. So I have two units here. One it's stereo, that is the down, this one, and one is mono, but the mono has two effects loop. What does boxes do? What they do is basically they take the signal from the console. So it's a balance line out, a send, goes inside, and then it sends the signal to any pedal, matching the impedance and the unbalancing it. Then from the pedal you go back in, and then the signal got converted again for the console. So basically what does it do? It makes your noise level and the signal perfect for recording. You can, of course, not using it, and that is how I used to do, but what happens is like the level has to be pushed a lot, and hence you will have a lot of ground noise and hiss, which can be interesting if you like it, but sometimes it's, you know, if you have a lot of stuff going on, then you might end up with a lot of noise, unwanted noise, and then it's not that good. The cool part of this thing is like you have knob here in which you decide the signal that you want to send to the instrument, and what come back, a phase. You can switch the phase in case and you listen to match with the original sound, which is pretty cool. And then just the level, the dry and wet, and this for the stereo down here. For the mono, you have two loops, A and B. You can use it together, which is cool, because right now, for example, let me send the 303 into this. Now, let me turn on loop A. Loop A is the space echo. So as you can hear, I can decide how strong the signal to send and how I can drive the preamp in the space echo, which is pretty cool. But what if I want to use another chain? I just hook up here the Death by Audio Echo Dream 2, so I can just send it to it. Now, this pedal might need more signal or less. So right now I can also play both of them. Now I have the space echo and the Echo Dream in parallel. So these, if I would go directly without the reamp box, I would probably have to push the preamp that I don't have on this board, or then push it in the DAW, and hence I will have a lot of noise. So do you need this? It depends. It depends, I think, on how many pedals you have, how complex your chain is. I feel that I'm happy to have one. Let's listen to the other one. Now let's use these stereo that send through corridors. Corridors, they haven't taken space. Corridors is my favorite preset. For example, this one, if I don't use with the reamp, it's noisy, and I couldn't really record it. Now, with this, it sounds like a studio reverb. And I love the preset here. It's an old pedal by now, but I really love it, so I wanted to use it. Perfect, right? And even here, of course, I can invert the phase, I can decide the send and return, and this is changed by different pedals might need more or less signal, especially if you use pedal that has preamp or saturation, stuff like that. This one doesn't have two effects loop because of course it uses two stereo send and return. Nice. Okay, now let's move and let's listen to other stuff. I have on send 3 the LVX and 6, and for example, these two don't have their own reamp. Now, this box costs like $400 each. It's bloody a lot of money, and I would need another one. I'm promoting this, and I didn't have, for full disclosure, I bought this full price, no help or support from Radial. I hope. Hey Radial, if you want to send another box, send it to me. And now this chain here needs its own reamp, and as you can hear, the level is way lower, and it's pushed to the maximum, and it's really hard for me now to hear it as much as I want. So what I will have to do later on in mixing phase, pump it on the DAW. So this chain is a more creative reverb and space situation. So I have the LVX that give me a lot of cool tone, like this lo-fi reverse effects, and then I go into the CXM. I love it. Now, what you can do is also use multiple effects on the same channel. For example, now I can add some spring. And I forgot that on Send 2 I have the Eventide. Let's listen. What? There's a flanging, twirling room, it's a flanger. And then, for example, let's be crazy. Now I'm using all the sends on the 303. As you can hear, now you made a super simple sound. Let's listen again. This, which is not the most beautiful and enticing sound, the 303 sound, nobody likes it, right? But the moment you start adding things on it, one by one, some spring, some flanging, the lo-fi reverse and some reverb, corridors, the FX tree with chorus, and then our dub delay. So, some strategy now. This sounds nice to me, there's a lot of depth, there's a lot of stuff happening, but still you can hear everything clearly. Now I can add effects to the other two, yes. So if I'm planning to do a recording, a performance recording only on a stereo track, that's completely fine. But if then I want to have all separate, now I have all of these effects going separate, so I can work with them. But if the effects send comes from more than one channel, then of course it will be hard for me to mix separately. So here is when you have to draw a line. Are you gonna do a recording of a full performance so you don't care? Then go crazy. And I love to add this tiny accent of dub delay to any part. And play then with the EQ. Or if you want to do some production that it takes more time, then maybe yeah, you select few effects for each channel and that's it, and you'll be happy. Now, I think I show you basically everything. The great thing of having a mixer, and now you don't need this mixer, there's a lot of other opportunity, other mixers that have aux and send, but the fact of having aux and send is what changed really the production and makes my life easier. Also, I love to use effects, and I'm not more a synthesis master. I like to use simple sound and a lot of effects. So if that is what you like or you're excited about that thought, maybe a mixer with at least 4 aux send, like all the Mackeys, all the Allen Neat, it's great. The Tofts are like 6 or 8, I don't know. The more, the merrier, of course, but with 4, you're fine. With 2, also, you're really good. If you like dub mixes, for example, you'll be fine with 2 send, 1 for reverb, 1 for delay. Of course, if you are planning to do dub stuff, you need to give a channel to your delay to make the feedback. So also remember that you will have to sacrifice 1 channel, but it's such an important part for the sound that I feel you have to, and you can play with it. So the mixer is an instrument, and through the use of these boxes, you can use your collections of pedal and make cool stuff. Or you don't care at all and you do noisy things and you don't need the reamp. I don't know. For more commercial, not commercial, but I think it's nice to have the chance of control the signal clearly, and it's always nice to decide if you want to use noise and lo-fi sound creatively, not being imposed by limitation. All right, limitation on gear that you have. All right, I hope this was interesting. A lot of people were asking me about my effects and chain, and also the effects I show you are the one that I use 99% of the time. Yeah, by now these 2 are with me since here, and they're really important to me. These are getting another space in my heart. They're also very white, and now the Space Echo, of course, and this new one, the AFX3 is amazing. So I have everything I need, hopefully. Okay, I will let you know how it ends up with my wife, if I will be a single man by tonight, and then you know, I'll be on some dating website. They're still on? I don't know. out of the game since so much time. Well, thanks for watching. Please hit the like button, support the page if you can, and I'll see you next week.